How can the teammates help? Well, Jorge Lorenzo said he would help if he got into that situation. He's got a great record here. He's a 4 times winner here in the Motogp class.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I think it's fitting and appropriate that the 2 fastest men this year, the 2 most consistent men this year, the 2 men who've won more races than anybody else, massive turning point in the World Championship. When he lost those 22 points to Marquez taking that brilliant victory in Australia, Dovizioso coming home in a lowly 13th place. Whichever
place in the World Championship, he should take that 4th place. Danny Pedrosa pushing him pretty hard, but I think Rossi's got a big enough advantage. As we switch now to Mark. But if we'd have told him in Qatar he'd be fighting for the World Championship in the final round, he would have said, well, I think we'll settle for that.
Yeah, I mean, Ducati, 33 points, 21 point advantage he has over Dovizioso in the race on Sunday, but this is the biggest prize in world motorcycling at stake. This is not your average normal Grand Prix weekend.
To have to ride in that way, is it? And sometimes when you are forced to ride in that way, you do make mistakes, and I think I honestly feel when we saw the documentary, glimmer of hope for the way he rides a motorcycle, which makes him so exciting, but you're never 100% convinced, are you?
You can never take your eyes off the championship that year. He was pretty comfortable just riding around, making sure that he got the podium finish that he needed.
Well, we follow will be the world champion into turn 1. We now switch to Andrea Dovizioso. Every race has been won by him or Marquez, nobody else.
Without any shadow of a doubt, he's had the season of his life. He's won a world championship, of course, the 125cc. Stoner was on board in 2008. And of course, let's not forget, he did win that brilliant race last time out of Malaysia, and he has taken back-to-back wins. He needs to do that on Sunday. Valencia circuit, the tight and twisty nature of this Ricardo Tormo venue does not suit the Ducati. It's not the most agile motorcycle to manoeuvre around.
This is why this sport is so great. We ride with Dovizioso, come across the line in 11th place. It's Jack Miller that leads the way. 1:32.904 for the Australian. Marquez in 2nd place. You know, practice session conditions will be near, nigh perfect. We haven't spoken to Dylan down in pit lane. Dylan, good morning.
I thought you'd forgotten me, Nick.
Yeah, never.
However, rear tyres, not many people willing to use up the soft rear just yet. Of course, they'll want to keep that for qualifying. Some might even want to race it. I believe the ones I saw were okay. The first person back into pit lane, Carol Abraham. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm going to find out why, and I'll get back to you shortly.
Many thanks, Dylan. Mark Marquez taking it easy, of course.
Riders. Mika Kallio back in action on the KTM RC16. There he is on your screens now. And, of course, Michele Pirro, who we know is a brilliant test 2 weeks after the tragedy of Marco Simoncelli losing his life at the Sepang International Circuit. Just 2 weeks later here in Valencia, riding for the Gresini Moto2 team at the time.
Massive part of the success of Andrea Dovizioso and Ducati this season.
Well, this guy is so good, and his input and feedback is so invaluable.
A quick test rider, we've said it every time. And you got Casey Stoner and Michele Pirro doing the testing for you. You know, you're going to be okay. And I'm at Andrea Dovizioso running in 11th place. But Andrea Dovizioso will run this weekend exactly how he wants to. He will not be fazed. Marquez goes off like a scalded cat.
Which is exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he is, of course he is. And this is right for Marc Marquez. Getting closer and closer to a Grand Prix win, isn't he?
Oh, Johann Zarco has been one of the standout performers of this 2017 MotoGP World Championship. We'll just pick Marquez over the line now, early on this weekend in Valencia.
That is faster than the circuit record held by Jorge Lorenzo. Oh, sorry, 6-9.
Clear blue skies and glorious sunshine. It's very, very chilly out there this morning in Valencia. We're back on board now with Johann Zarco. We were just saying one of the standout performers of Petrucci, Cal Carruccio. It's been some stiff competition to be top independent team rider this year. And you've got to say, Johann Zarco has pretty much wiped the floor with the rest of the field with some absolute...
Critical throughout the season about Johann Zarco and his riding style. Actually paid him a massive compliment yesterday and said what an amazing season he has had. You know,
who's just gone up into 2nd place.
He's following Marquez, I think, Miller, isn't he? Yeah.
1:31.950. looks like there's an early change of boots here going on for Paul.
Springing the bike, soften it up a little bit because they are finding that the track is a little bit cooler than they expected, and it looks like with Jorge Lorenzo we're seeing also a few changes going on to the front.
Dovizioso starts the first debrief of the weekend. Now Marc Marquez might have a good look here at Johann Zarco. He's a pretty good man to follow around, although Zarco's lost a bit on the circuit as well.
Well, he said, didn't he? He felt he could have won at Sepang. He thought he could win in Phillip Island, and he's got no different feeling about coming to the race here. I went up there and saw Gary McCoy go through there on that Yamaha.
You couldn't see the smoke, could you?
See him.
I was like,
Gary was. Where is he?
Somebody's let the fireworks off early here.
You'd have a problem, wouldn't they? They'd have been scratching their heads there, wouldn't they?
Well, the Australians used to call it cooking up a barbie on the rear tyre, wasn't it? Yeah.
Maverick, tough old final session of this final half of the season for Maverick Vinales after winning those 3 Grand Prix very early on.
Yeah, his challenge. Look at the 2 factory Yamaha men circulating together.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th respectively in the championship. Vinales with that Rossi with that for Yamaha, especially with the bike in the wet conditions. And it's a very, very important test for them here, for everybody here, on Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Spargo back, so a good season on the Aprilia, isn't he?
Yeah, Aleix Espargaro, of course, was fighting for that top 6 in the epic battle in Australia when he crashed out at the Doohan Corner. Fat circuit, some hard braking zones, a lot of change of direction where you've got to muscle the bike around, so it's going to be a difficult conclusion to the season for Aleix Espargaro. Did a pretty solid and decent job last time out in Malaysia, Michael van der Mark. Of course, Yamaha's Pata Yamaha World Superbike regular, standing in for the absent Jonas Folger at the end of November for a 2-day test with Vinales, Rossi and Johann Zarco. There's been no confirmations whether Jonas Folger, who has been missing since Aragon with those viral issues.
For Jonas Folger, because everybody was anticipating Zarco would do okay, not anything like he has done, but as a double world champion there was a little bit
I just want to butt in, guys, because I'm just down at the Ducati box. I wanted to give you an update. Jorge Lorenzo, when he went back out on track, actually there were no changes to his number 1. I really don't often see this, and I'm glad I caught this, because I saw Dobby pointing downwards at his mechanic saying, change this, and what they did was, it looked like they actually lowered the position, not...
Situation. There was actually a statement released by both Jonas, his management team yesterday, and the Tech 3 Yamaha team. The latest situation on Folger, he's actually been diagnosed with problems, actually. They also revealed after that big crash he had in Aragon, Folger, his throat was damaged, his voice has been badly affected apparently. He has had to visit another specialist about it. A rapid recovery on both instances over the coming months.
I think the good news, Matt,
nothing serious.
Take any good news about it. Yeah, nothing serious.
So bereft of energy, he could not even get out of bed.
Yeah. Back with Andrea Dovizioso. He's gone out. This final round of the Motogp World Championship, the Ricardo Tormo circuit here on the outskirts of Valencia. Beautiful city. Repeat those tomorrow morning. Yeah, I would think, looking at the times we've seen now, I don't think we're going to see the shootout this afternoon, so I think probably towards the end of this session.
Opening practice session. Of course, he had that famous victory here in 2013 at the last corner, that great showdown with Louis Salom and Alex Rins in the...
Amazing race. It's absolutely summed up this circuit perfectly, didn't it? Coming out of that turn 14. The Ben Spies, Casey Stoner riding the Suzuki.
Yeah, well, we know what issues Yamaha have to work on for next year. It's pretty clear. Their issues are in the rain conditions and scorching hot. 10th in Barcelona when it was baking hot, and then 9th in Motogp in the rain, 9th in Sepang in the rain. It's pretty obvious the work that the Yamaha engineers have got to resolve.
The Premier Class has been decided at the very last round, and I think it's absolutely right. It's happened this time around because we have had it.
It's a beautiful backlit shot. Yeah, one of the few circuits where you don't hear the photographers complaining too much, do you?
No, don't be silly. Don't be.
It's left-handed before you fire it down the back straight. Turn 6 rather. You come with this fast kick, this turn number 7.
That's a terrific corner, isn't it? Yeah, and those the 12. Then this is the corner. Up over the rise. It's blind. But as you come over the rise, you've got to start slowing, haven't you? You can't go in there full
session. Now on board with his main championship rival, his only championship rival, of course, Andrea Dovizioso, still down in 8th place, potentially picking up one spot here to go 7th.
Marquez, as you can see, is on a really decent lap once again. 2,000ths of a second up. I was talking to because it could be absolutely crucial as far as the outcome of the championship goes.
It wouldn't be Marc Marquez if he doesn't give us one big
moment.
Well, he's
going to give it
0.83s, but Dovizioso in 4th place. Been a really good morning session so far for Jack Miller. He's still hanging on to that top 3. His final appearance, of course, for Team Estrella.
With Lorenzo, 2nd place in Sepang, his 3rd podium finish of the season. It's taken probably a bit longer than he thought. I don't know, a bit longer than Ducati thought.
He is unbeatable, no doubt about it. Fantastic. One of the most gifted riders we've seen in the history of the MotoGP World Championship. A double 250cc World Champion, 3 times a MotoGP.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot easier, wouldn't it? You wouldn't have to try to work things out. But there is no doubt, and we saw, didn't we, at the start of it.
Let him wrap up the world title without a fight in Malaysia.
There's the likes of Michele Pirro and others that maybe their help, like it. He pushes on. It's I remember classic. It was Freddie Spencer and Kenny Roberts the first year that Freddie Spencer won the championship was at Imola. And Spencer,
he knew he had to put bikes in between himself and Marc Marquez. He got out the front of the race, did Lorenzo. And then he really did roll off to just try and bring a few more rides in.
This is that advantage at the front over Johan Zarco is now in 2nd place and Jack Miller in 3rd. There is just 16 minutes remaining. He loves the left-handers, doesn't he?
Well, this is another.
Marquez,
that's another thing that goes his way this weekend in Valencia. It's one of the few anti-clockwise circuits.
Now turn 12. Here he goes, and then 13 and 14. You're riding with the master through here, up over the rise. The 2nd advantage over Johan Zarco with 14.5 minutes remaining of this vital first practice session here in Valencia.
Well, Nick, now that Marquez has shown his...
whatever it takes in order to be fighting until the last corner on Sunday. Obviously, everybody knows it's going to be very difficult. And yeah, you're right, but don't forget that last year Iannone was 3rd and he had a great battle with other riders. So I think our bike is definitely...
Yeah, I think he absolutely summed up the situation perfectly. So, bit of a... I remember Marc Marquez and Paul Espargaro fighting for that Moto2 World Championship. Well,
we've got Alex Rins, Danilo Petrucci, who struggles in the dry continue. He's ahead of Hector Barber on his final MotoGP appearance before he moves to Moto2. Carol Abraham 21st, and a Bradley weekend that he's made so far this morning. It's been absolutely faultless by Marquez. A 131.511. He's been sitting in those mid to high 131s the whole session.
8-year-old, that one win. Should finish 4th in the championship. The broken leg in the dirt bike training accident coming back. Have a very, very busy winter indeed.
Hasn't been a happy hunting ground over the last recent years, has it, Valencia for Valentino Rossi? No win since 2004.
A quick look there at Dani Pedrosa, and it's the 2 teammates of the championship contenders. Dani Pedrosa is the only rider to win 125. Goes to plan. Marc Marquez should be the comfortable world champion, but we need a miracle, say Ducati. Well, miracles do happen.
Well, they're just relieved and happy to be in this 10th place overall in this MotoGP World Championship. Now he's come through Sector 3 up by just 0.05 of a second. But this has been as good a FP1.
Come as a bit of a surprise.
Well, he's a dirt tracker as well.
Yeah, and he loves the left-handers.
Yeah, loves the left-handers. And let's not forget, Jack Miller still does hold the fastest lap in motor in Qatar and Argentina. So he does come in to this final appearance on that Honda RC 213V machine in really good form.
Guys, you were talking about what trucks and rear. Whether that's for the time attack, not entirely sure. His time obviously should get better, but as we know, the Ducatis might also be looking at that option at that time.
Join Pramac Ducati next season, and signing off in style.
Yeah, we're just a quick look there at his crew chief, Ramon Alreen, confirmed that next year, Dani Pedrosa best pace, down in 19th place. No dramas in the wet for Petrucci. We saw him so strong in Misano and Motogp. A great fight back from the back of the grid into the
3.57, put him top with 6.5 minutes remaining. Let's have a look.
Turn 6, it's a, see that so often at turn number 6. Just trailing the brakes.
Just to see what's happening. Mika Kallio. Oh, test rider, of course, for KTM. He rode in that opening Grand Prix in Qatar. Rode in...
You've got to say, phenomenal credit goes to KTM. It was here 1 year ago that Mika Kallio gave them their Grand Prix debut in Valencia. The progress and development.
So soft options, as you see. I can't believe he's thinking of a shootout. Can you, with the weather forecast, we followed Dovizioso?
Yeah, into this infield complex through turns 10, and it tightens up as you come through turn 11. That will be his 6th career title. No rider at this age has been able to match that record. Andrea Iannone is on a good lap as well. It's been a good morning session for the...
In Sepang, wasn't it? But before then, he'd finished 4th in Japan and 6th in Phillip Island, and really finding something towards the end of the season. We switch back to Marc Marquez.
So the Maniac has come out all guns blazing so far here in Valencia. He wasn't on the podium here 1 year ago in his last race for the minutes of this opening practice session remaining, and now we've got a Suzuki, a Satellite Honda and a KTM inside the top 3.
And Marc Marquez running in 4th, mate.
We know definitely Iannone's on that soft option rear tire, as is Dovizioso, so that's the reason why he's fired himself up into 4th place, a 1:31.476, just 300th behind.
Not with the bike that he just used. Fortunately, his other machine was ready, had a used medium in from his first couple of runs, so they sent him back out to at least get a practice started.
Everything else from Andrea Iannone, but he's much more like the old Maniac since he's got on the flyaway. Sepang was disappointing, but Japan and Phillip Island, he's been right on it. Marquez, and Dovizioso have got a hope, isn't it? He does get involved in that sort of scrap with those sort of people. Zarco, as we put with plenty of work.
Bautista's down. So Álvaro Bautista, who had a pretty tough time last time out in Malaysia.
Yeah, he had some. Will be his last lap.
Yeah, he's been out there the whole session, hasn't he, on the soft front, medium rear. Marquez, you feel, has got, well...
hopping over the tarmac and the track surrounds. He brakes hard into the fast left-hander.
Yeah, I think he'll...
But he was so pleased, and Dovizioso, so they could actually get out on the track and get started. And all the talk and all the build-up's gone now. Now it's down to what...
Lighting up that rear tyre, brilliantly coming through turn 13.
Yeah, team look happy, Dad looks on, smile.
That tyre, which is only a 1/10 of a second slower than his best lap of the session. Pretty impressive, you've got to say that, from Marc Marquez. Certainly the consistency.
Not happily from Ducati this time last year, didn't he? That was his last rider for Ducati.
Jack Miller was able to get out on the second Mark VDS, improving KTM. They were going to... I was speaking to a couple of guys from Mika Kallio's test team, are actually staying in our hotel in downtown for them to take another Quantum Link forward next year, but another outstanding job by the KTM factory team.
So, Marquez. Monday, and I really hope that it will be. From a championship point of view, it is going to be so difficult for W. I think Mark has just reminded everyone just how quick he really is, you know, especially at
a brand new software. Iannone, Polispargo and Petrucci, no surprise there. Danilo Petrucci, given his struggles to get some kind of form going in the dry conditions, he's put in
been achieved, and absolutely from what we've seen, and I think, as I said, the camera is following every inch of his day. Not an incident of championship. He has reached a level that nobody would have believed, including himself, I'm sure, this season. It's a great battle.
Here's Andrea Dovizioso through this brilliant turn 13.
This special corner.
Style as well. Marc Marquez is completely sideways coming through that turn 13. Wheel slightly more in line from the silky smooth Andrea Dovizioso.
One hell of a session and finished second fastest.
Just sit and watch that shot all day long.
So Moto2 coming up, of course, a new world champion to
ability on gas certainly this afternoon.
The confirmation on Drain only led the way on the Suzuki at 1:31.045. But what about those championship contenders? A fall for him. Tito Rabat, Aleix Espargaro, good to see him back, and Scott Redding on his last ride for Ducati.
Valentino Rossi, very low-key start to the week.
1:31s, as you can see.
Of course, we won't see Marks, will he? He was 5th. We only get to see the top 4. We're going to have, we'll have to study them religiously in the press room when we get to see the lap time. Was 3rd. We know that he was definitely out on that soft option Michelin rear tyre at the end of the session. Take nothing away from the Spanish man, though. Brilliant. 1:31.438
of Marquez. There you go. Look, confirmation. So 1:31.476 for Dovizioso. Well, that second run.